Just a reminder, if you're hungry, the far corner of the terrace there, Dave from Mackenzie's is serving steak burgers, hot dogs and potato wedges. If you're on the terrace of the clubhouse, Irma from Coaltown Beer is doing a beer tasting, so if you want a free beer, she's got Coaltown Lager, Coaltown 4-star Martini Ale.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm very loud now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You hearing me okay? Yeah.
Very loud.
Right, yeah, I'm now on the headset mic. So. Okie dokie. Just check at half time. I just wrap on the score and we'll come back at the end of the interval, yeah? Okay. As I say, you need to yell at me because you're very, very quiet despite this being fully up. That's fine, all will be well. All will be well. Turn myself down so I'm going to annoy myself if I'm hearing myself that much. So used to using one of them, that's. I'm okay at the moment, thank you. Coffee, white coffee. Thank you. Yeah, no, use that. It was only me apparently that wasn't coming through. Do you want to test that again? Just
testing. Yep. Lee Jones here, co-commentary.
Yep, that's fine for me.
Yep.
Good evening to you. Welcome to Meggetland. It is the Collington Road Derby. They don't have far to come. Watsonians to play their old rivals, the Boroughmuir Bears. But it's the Boroughmuir Bears against Watsonians Rugby, and the whole match is coming up live right here. Well, it's a beautiful night for rugby. Bring out your faithful friends and watch what should be a really good game. Boroughmuir Bears got a win earlier on in this FOSROC Super Series Sprint by defeating the Ayrshire Bulls. They put on an immense performance and that set them up well. Disappointing last time out against Heriots, however. Heriots managing to build a lead early, and while the Bears played better in the second half, they couldn't overcome the other Edinburgh side. Watsonians come here in second place on the table with dreams of making the grand final, which is just 3 weeks away. So the Bears make 3 personnel changes to the starting 15. Andrew McLean has not recovered from injury. Fit again, Tom Quinlan joins Rudy Swan at halfback. He's also returning to the starting 15. Brandon Sweet comes in for his first start of the sprint after impressing from the bench in the last outing against Heriots. Players to look out for: Corey Tate retains the hooker berth, and returning to the starting 15 is Martin McGinley as well. Big side for Boroughmuir, and they'll need it against a Watsonians team who are always strong. It's a very young bench for the Boroughmuir Bears. After a week's break, it's allowed Watsonians to get a few players back from injury, and they bring back 2 experienced players to the pack in Harrison Courtney and Carl Main. And there's a first start for Bobby Bratton in this competition as well. There's good news too in the back. Scott King starting at 12 alongside George Pringle. He was excellent last time out. Captain Lee Miller, however, is missing through injury. This gives Jack Brown the opportunity to make his first start at fullback for the side led by head coach Stevie Scott. Again, a real youthful look to that bench for Watsonians rugby. So the home team are out in their traditional home colours. And you can see there the bald head of Josh King leading everybody together. Jack Fisher alongside him. Alongside me is Lee Jones, the former Scotland international player. Josh King and Jack Fisher at 4 and 5, key players tonight for the way that the Bears want to play this game.
Yeah, especially up against a side like Watsonians, and what a great night for a game of rugby. Both sides at opposite ends of what is a relatively short table, but it's coming in quick, and both teams are playing, like I say, at different ends. Boroughmuir are trying to stay out of that bottom 2, while Watsonians shooting for the top. You've got a young team in Boroughmuir looking to, as Graham Shield says, gain some consistency in the performances against a team that's probably been the most consistent throughout the Super Series in the last couple of seasons. So it's going to be a great matchup.
We're looking forward to it. A lot of experienced faces in this Watsonians team, including Carl Main. Our referee this evening, Rudy Campbell, who's assisted by Michael Todd and by Bob Nevins. They are in the yellow jerseys, issued to them by the SRU. Sir Rudy Campbell, experienced at this level of the competition, as Jason Baggett gets ready to get us underway. It's a cold, bit drab evening in Edinburgh, and the rugby, we hope, will warm us up. Long high kick, good early take from Boroughmuir. It's key that they protect. Lots of restarts and kick-offs, so you can see the battle already between King and Main and Co. It's a good early exit from Boroughmuir. The ball bounces on the stand, which is right above our head. You hear the ball bouncing down. Good clearance by Rory Swan. And the first line out, as it took a little nick, will go the way of Boroughmuir. Corey Tate getting ready. You can just see the little signal just tried to be hidden there by Brandon Sweet. Oh, it's a great steal. Swan gets it on the inside, dropping the shoulder quickly as Carl Main. Back in again, Murdo McAndrew. Bobby Bratton trying to drive his way through. McAndrew again. On to Baggett. 12 is Scott King. Great to see him back playing. Getting the start tonight. Jamie Beresford leading the charge. There's the lovely little slip pass, bringing in George Pringle. Again, good gathering work from Watsonians. Jamie Beresford back inside Murdo McAndrew. The tackling is fierce, but the ball is being presented back once more, and there is the opening try. Seb Cecil. Well, with a wonderful dive and finish. That was relentless rugby from Watsonians. Inside the opening 2 minutes, we have the opening score of the game.
That's a dream start for Watsonians from the kick-off. It was a great chase on the kick-off, and Carl Main back into the side coming from injury with a great tackle. He's followed it up with a great carry in the first phase, and then Watsonians have worked their way through a couple of really nice pieces of footwork coming across to the stand side, and then just the holding up of the ball there, and it's a great line, and it ends up a big gap that he goes through, and Seb Cecil finishes well. He's normally known for his industrious work in the pack, but he's run a great line there, and he's managed to finish it off well.
Spotted his moment of glory, and up and over he goes. That his fourth try in 23 appearances at the FOSROC level. And Jason Baggett should have a fairly straightforward pop over the posts. I guess, Lee, the gut punch was the loss of the line-out ball.
Yes, especially the first one of the game as well. Like you say, they were trying to hide the signal. Somebody must have got a look at that. Neil Irvin Hess did really well to get up, and off turnover ball, it's always a good platform to get yourself into the game. But Watsonians did well to really gain momentum in those early phases as well.
Looked like that was knocked on. It has been. The advantage is being played. It just came out the hands of Joe Jenkins. The advantage has been kicked away. Tristan Andrews loves a little run, and in he goes. Andrews almost being taken into touch. And the ball is back through Swan. Swan through the hands of Quinlan. Into the midfield. Is there no room for Boroughmuir? Main a little bit slow to get out his way. There was always going to be the kick from Quinlan there. Difficult one for the fullback to take. Well dealt with by Jack Brown on the side tonight. Sent it long. Callum Ram goes with the kick and chase. Just a little bit too long there, and Watsonians can break here. It's into the try scorer, Cecil. Baggett looks behind him. There's a little touch and turn from George Pringle. Pass was almost forward, but brought back in. Getting ready for the box kick. Murdo McAndrew. Oh, that's a terrible take. Just coughed the ball straight back. And now Carl Davis will get things moving. The early pressure is all on Boroughmuir. Scott King. Again, Murdo McAndrew. Onto the wing it goes, but the ball is forward. Just not quite working for Boroughmuir. I mean, the tenacity in defence, Lee, is very good, and that will please the coach.
Yeah, definitely the intent and the efforts there on tackles. I think when we've seen that first try, it's maybe more of a system, kind of someone in the wrong position sort of thing. But you can see the intent from both teams to start this game, and good enterprise in attack as well. They seem to be putting width on the ball, and it's a perfect night for it. It's a dry ball, it's a dry field, relatively little wind, so from what we've seen in the opening exchanges, I think we're in for a really good match.
Watsonians with the early advantage. They've won 6 of the 7 fixtures at this level between these famous old rivals. There's Rory Swan. Gets ready to get it in. Tristan Andrews tucking in at 8. Scrum didn't look steady. A little bit of early shoving there. You can see Bobby Bratton on the right-hand side of the scrum for Watsonians, up against Brandon Sweet. Brandon Sweet, 27-year-old South African. 20th appearance for the Bears. Again, just time to get the scrum set. And Swan. See Murdo McAndrew right beside him. Again, just got to get the ball in.
Okay, 9.
Taken up nicely, Scott Robson.
Tackle!
Tom comes in to try and provide some support and cover. Through the hands of Josh King.
Away now, off him.
One thing that's noticeable, Lee, is that Boroughmuir are struggling to get the ball and move it quickly, whereas Watsonians were cycling the ball through pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially on that first phase there, and I think it came off a really good platform from the Boroughmuir scrum, provided a really good platform, and I think, you know, they went fairly direct through Scott Robson. I wonder if they can potentially try and find a bit more space on that first phase.
There's an overlap if they can use it, although it's cut inside. Jenkins has to go for the correct man. He's done so. That's good play by Joe Jenkins. He's trying to dance inside. There's Brown. Sweet has to get out the way. He's done so. Turnover not good. Oh, they have slowed the ball up this time. McAndrew. Callum Ram watches. Well, Callum Ram says that bounced on the line and out. I thought he did. Close.
I think it bounced in. It was a tough one for Callum Ram to keep because he's coming over from the right-hand side there. He probably, if he jumped, he was probably going to end up in touch. I understand why he left it. I feel they've given it. It's gone Boroughmuir's way anyway. Oh, that's right, actually. On replay, yeah. Yeah, that's a fair call and a good call by Callum Ram.
Got to get the line out correct this time. Didn't get past Neil Irvin Hess last time. He got the steal. Doesn't get it that time. Jack Fisher. Now breaking off Corey Tates. The technical term for that is melted. And manages to keep hold of the ball. Good play though from Tom Quinlan. Oh, that's blocked. And the turnover is good. And immediately coming through was George Pringle. Carl Davis is usually an immovable object. Harrison Courtney gets the carry. McAndrew through to Baggett. Nicely done onto Ball. Well, the ball is counter-rucked.
You're inside,
and the Bears have turned it over. Quinlan, Newcastle University player, sends it deep inside the half. Little chance to run for George Pringle. Little ball on the outside, and he can move. Angus Guthrie gets the ball back on the inside. The Bears have it through Callum Ram. Ram finds a little bit of room. Touch isolated. Great pass. He got away onto Tristan Andrews. Well, the Bears trying to find some space. Flying up. Quickly come the defence. Joe Jenkins fancies it. The shout coming from the sidelines have worked together. It does look a little bit individualistic at the moment, Lee.
That's right. There was a lot of space on the width there for Boroughmuir. Carl Main shut it off. Did really well to get off the line at pace.
Suspicious forward pass. The referee spots it. Just trying to get Scott Robeson away, but it looked forward from our angle. And referee Yuri Campbell agrees with that assessment.
Yeah, I think your observation before, Paul, the speed of the ball when you compare the two sides at the moment, Watsonians just generating a lot quicker ball, and from a defensive point of view for them, getting up quick. You know, holding the ball carrier up, which just given an extra second and a half for Boroughmuir. The Watsonians defence gets set, and then there's less space. And I think that's the kind of one thing we can take from these open exchanges is Watsonians are definitely generating quicker ball.
That goes in.
Andrew getting ready to pop the ball in.
Fine.
Sweet Tate and McGinley up against Courtney, Davis and Bratton. Neil Irvin Hess is at 8. He picks up, runs into the scrum half, knocks him away. McAndrew again into Beresford, trying to find a way through. Courtney was in there. Now it comes out through King. No way through for King.
Tackle!
Tackle is made, the knee was on the deck. McAndrew. There's the little offload on the far side. Watsonians stretching. Well, an advantage has been given, but that ball doesn't look like it's coming out of there. So the penalty will come. Offside. Craig Carey just querying from the referee. As Jason Baggett will pop this in the corner.
Number 14 retreating, he was the one who's offside.
Well, not only did he pop it in the corner, he popped it out the ground. We won't be seeing that ball again tonight.
Sorry, guys. Okay, this is your mark. Keep the gap, please. Keep the gap.
Carl Davis. Good stretch. Seb Cecil will try and score on the match so far. It's at the back. Carl Davis has it. They're going to be hard to stop even from here. Davis breaks away. Well, he's a regular try scorer. That is number 12 in his career. And over he goes. Nice take off the top. They controlled it well. And the drive from Carl Davis. And the second try of the evening for Watsonians.
That's really well executed, isn't it? They almost made it look a wee bit too easy, and Cal Davis has found himself at the back of a lot of those mauls, and he picks up a few tries. But as soon as they brought this down, just technically did a really good job of getting it moving forward. And do you know, once they've got those first few steps of momentum, Boroughmuir are just, they're chasing their tails in terms of trying to stop that then, especially without infringing. And in the end, Cal Davis makes it look fairly easy. I'm sure he'll thank his teammates.
That was a penalty advantage coming anyway, but we've done the job. And it's up to Jason Baggett, 27-year-old from Cape Town. Played for the Cheetahs in South Africa, played for Edinburgh a couple of times as well. Gets the kick away. And the Dutch judges look at each other. And it has gone through. And it is the perfect start from the boot of Jason Baggett.
The try was scored by number 1, Harrison Courtney.
You just see the power there and the work. Despite what the public address announcer has just announced, it was Cal Davis, not Harrison Courtney, who scored. Some home team psychology from the announcer there. Josh King drives his way through, gets some help from Jenkins. Swan inside onto Quinlan. First time we've seen Martin McGinley get the chance to make the run. Quinlan again. Ram brings it back the other way. No way through. Good tackling, Seb Cecil. But they're going to come back for the penalty.
Number 7 offside.
Well, I'm not quite sure. Offside is the signal that comes through.
It's a brilliant carry by Josh King in the lead up there with a big fend. And he's been playing well over the past few weeks. And he's starting off on the right foot tonight. Watsonians, I think, just they're filling the field really well in defence, and that's partly because they're slowing the ball down. And Boroughmuir kind of, I think, just struggling to find space with the ball being so slow. But they've got an opportunity to go to touch here and get their line-out maul going.
Callum Ram there, pops it into the corner. 26 years old, getting a good run, injury-free. Good take, effective. Now it comes to the back. So with Corey Tate. Cecil's come round, but he's holding on. I think they're going to have to try and break through. They're continuing. The advantage is going to come, but can they get it all the way over the try line? Corey Tate drops down. And that's a terrific response from the Boroughmuir Bears. They've lost the opening 2 tries, but try number 3 goes their way. Corey Tate with a touchdown.
Yeah, very similar in the opposite corner of the field. We see the driving maul, so attacking maul 2, defensive maul 0 for the game at the moment. Corey Tate, the beneficiary here, very similar to Cal Davis in the last one, but yeah, Boroughmuir well worked. They work it back towards the touchline. You see Ross McKnight from the wing has to join. Those Watsonians guys are trying their best to hold it up. But yeah, a bit of momentum. They get that second push, and Corey Tate, the beneficiary this time.
Martin McGinley had splintered off, but he continued to make a nuisance of himself.
As they do, they do. Grab whatever you can, keep them out of the way, and the rest of the boys will benefit.
There's Tom Quinlan. First kick at goal for him. That's just going to pull to the left-hand side. But the Bears are on the board, and I guess from a game perspective, it's quite important. It just keeps them in touch.
Yeah, I think definitely 15 minutes into the match, when you're looking at 14-0, you know, and you've not really had a chance to generate possession and territory. You know, and it all started the carry with Josh King down the far end there, and penalty into the corner, and obviously a strong driving maul as well. It's Boroughmuir into the game.
Tristan Andrews was taken as he was trying to take the ball, so that's the penalty. Well, these Super Series Sprint games have been entertaining. on average just over 8 tries per match. So if you are looking for entertainment, you've come to the right place. As Callum Ram pops that off the metal stand here at Meggetland.
Okay.
Corey Tate, 19-year-old Scotland under-20 player, made his debut the Championship 21-22. And playing for the 15th time at this level. Getting valuable experience. That was well taken and well dealt with by Jack Fisher.
No hands. Leave it. Fine, pause there.
Came through the hands of Craig Keddy. It was dropped. The knock on. A little bit frustrating from Boroughmuir perspective.
I think Carl Main's tackle count must be approaching double figures already, and we're 18 minutes in. He's up off the kickoff there, you know, and it resulted in a Boroughmuir penalty, but there he's hard over ball, which again we're talking about that speed of ball, and it just means that it's harder for Boroughmuir to get that, for Rory Swan to get that ball away. It allows Watsonians to fold maybe another 1 player, 2 players round the corner, so that when Boroughmuir go the same way, they're into a brick wall, and then that forces the error and gives Watsonians possession back.
Crouch. Binds. Up. Set. Steady.
Barry Campbell just asking the packs to be steady. Neil Irvin-Hess will dig in to get that. That's good play from the scrum half. Thought he'd ripped it. Neil Irvin-Hess gets away. He kept at it, Rory Swan. Up and round the corner from Lewis Ball.
No.
Craig Keddy getting himself back on side. Cal Davis. McAndrew through Baggett. The willing runner was Main. It was well dealt with again by Sweet. 4 is Lewis Ball. Driving in there, 6 was Seb Cecil. Comes through the hands and on to Pringle. It's a big moment of the match, even this early for Boroughmuir. They need to try and defend this here. Through Baggett. Davis. Downed well by Scott McGinley. There's a little foot almost came in there. Here's Baggett. He's going to play it out wide. Pringle back on the inside. It was a forward pass. It was the right idea. And Ross McKnight trying to get involved in the action there. Some good rugby.
Yeah, you could see what George Pringle was trying to do there. He's looked sharp so far when he's had the ball in hand. You'd obviously heard the call from Ross McKnight, and you could see what he was trying to do. I really like the way Jason Baggett's really attacking the line square, which is providing options for other players. That time it was the wider pass, but I think if he continues to do that, there'll be opportunities for players around him to find gaps.
Always someone wants to talk to the referee. Just trying to influence when you can. There's George Pringle, but you can see the conversation from Scott McGinley. There's 7 for the Bears.
Okay, that's him coming back.
Never let a moment go to rest. Just try and influence, speak to the ref, see what you can get.
What's the worst that could happen?
Well, yeah, well. As long as your tone is nice and you're polite, usually it's fine. There's Carl Main. He's gone almost 2 minutes without making a tackle. He'll be a bit of loss at what to do with himself.
Far side, you need to maintain the last picture. That's good.
Rory Swan. Appearance number 21 today for the Boroughmuir Bears.
Touch. Bind. Set.
Gone early. And you can see that, the push early. Tom Quinlan comes forwards. Now you can hear the Watsonians coaching staff say, be ready. There's the long kick. Ross McKnight gets underneath it. Takes it with the aid of the thigh. Joe Jenkins holds him up. Davis met by Tate. 2 on 2. McAndrew. There's the box kick. Callum Ram immediately called for it. Looked to drop a little short. Lovely shimmy by Ram. And now there's a little bit of space to run. And there's the acceleration of Irishman Jenkins. But well taken out by Murdo McAndrew. That's great play from the scrum half, because I'll tell you what, Jenkins can fly.
Yeah, and he really put the foot down there and went for it. And rightly so, there's often space on a counter-attack when you can get back down that short side. And I think it's Callum Ram here does really well just to get through the two defenders there. But then Joe Jenkins has held his width on that short side and finds a bit of space, but it's a great cover tackle. It's textbook cover tackle, Murdo McAndrew. Does well for his team.
That's the old story you were taught at school. If you've got your hands round the boy's legs and his ankles, he ain't going anywhere. So good tackling technique on that occasion. Not the problem. Watching on. Stevie Scott in the stand alongside Nicky Walker, the assistant coach. It's one of these things, Lee, you want your best players to stay on, but if there is a doubt and it could knock on to the next couple of weeks, then you'd be as well just saying, look, your night's done.
Yeah, definitely in the context of the Sprint series. Obviously we go into the last round next week and then we're into playoffs. You know, Carl Main's been standout at the start of this game, and we'd love him to stay on the field, but you know, having just come back from injury as well, he'll be wary of that. So it's always better. You know, you want to go in the best interests of the player. Hopefully he's okay. I think we'll see in a moment.
Yeah, very tentative. He seemed to slip as he went into the ruck, and his night is done. So it's just a question of a replacement now. No, that's a shame, because he's a player that you just love to watch, because he's everywhere. The commitment's there, the tackling's there. And that is a huge loss. Carl comes off 31st appearance. So Johnny Morris is off the bench and on. That's one movement. There's McAndrew. Joe Jenkins. Jenkins tried to step away from McKnight. He was successful. Man into the second tackle. Tristan Andrews waits for that. He runs a whole slab of beef in Lewis Ball. Also in there was Harrison Courtney. And he's lost it. Just lost it forwards. I have to say, Lee, you know, we watched two tries go into the first 12 minutes and you thought this might get a little bit one-sided, but Boroughmuir have bounced back well.
Yeah, and taking advantage, they've had a few penalties and kick to touch, and as I say, they're struggling to really string together possession, but they're sticking in the game. And like you say, the way the first few minutes went, you're worrying for them, but they're going to be more than competitive in this game. Louis Ball doing a great job there of just holding up the tackler, and that's what Watsonians are all about. You see the size of these guys in the pack. It's a real advantage for them to be able to slow ball down and tackle high and hold up a ball carrier. From a Boroughmuir point of view, you're looking at, you know, I'm sure they'll be talking about when we're carrying into contact, we need to be lower, we need players to latch on, we need leg drive, just to try and combat that tactic from the Watsonians guys.
Scrum a little messy again. The referee calls for a reset. Watsonians second place, 13 points, 2 points behind the Ayrshire Bulls. They're second over Heriots, though, just on points difference. So it's very tight. Boroughmuir Bears won 1 of 4 in the sprint. A cracking 29-21 win against the Ayrshire Bulls.
Okay, 9. Stay back.
McAndrew, a little bit ahead. That time, through the hands of King it comes. Brown, the fullback, into the line. Again, McAndrew. Irvin Hess pops the ball off to Seb Cecil. Baggett. Lewis Ball. Cal Davis looked a little ahead of things there. As Baggett plays the ball in. Here's King. There's a beautiful offload onto Pringle. Showing good hands, Scott King. Boroughmuir trying to stretch for that ball, but it's the defence that's being stretched at the moment. Again, Brown comes into the line. Ross McKnight, the right winger, tries to drop it off on Angus Guthrie. Guthrie held up. It's good tackling, Tristan Andrews.
Stay on side. Thank you.
Bobby Bratton.
Tackle!
Tackle is made, ball presented. McAndrew. It's a lovely 1-2 there, Courtney to Davis. Watch how these Boroughmuir players are getting back in as Brandon Sweet just comes a little bit too early, comes crashing through on the scrum half. Murdo McAndrew is down. Well, it's just an issue of timing. He thought that was going to be there and it wasn't. You come through fully committed. We obviously hope Murdo McAndrew's okay.
Yeah, I think we'll see it again here, potentially a wee bit reckless. You can see why he's gone in hands on the ball, but it's right in front of the eyes of the referee and probably the right call. Watsonians showing some great skill to put together a number of phases and just the passing. There's a couple of really nice touches in there. I think Scott King with a little offload on this side, and then Ross McKnight manages to get it away to Angus Guthrie on the far side. And these little offloads and short passes are the sort of things that are going to break down a team. So when you can string those phases together, you know, add in the offload, and the defence is going to really struggle to cover that.
Well, the referee's wandering over to speak to his touch judge. I mean, the arms were up, he was driving through, the referee was right there. It doesn't make it any less sore for McAndrew. And of course, the way that we've gone in rugby is just to be super safe and just make sure that there's no damage. Well, if you're going to play scrum half, you're going to pick them up. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to pick these up, and you know it as a scrum half. He's made of stern stuff, but just got that knocked out of him.
Yeah, I think you've always got a target on your back when you're playing scrum half, but more often than not they manage to stay out of the trouble. But we hope Murdo McAndrew's all right, potentially off for an HIA, I would imagine here. Wish him well. Yeah,
it would make perfect sense. Harry Patterson will be the player to come on and replace him. You're spot on, there was always going to be an HIA after being down for that length of time. And so your man, Harry Patterson, comes on. He's 21 years old. Hector Patterson. So they're going to try for the points. Jason Baggett to add 3. Oh, off the post, you've always got to be alert. And Craig Keddy was alert. Brandon Sweet. That's one of these things, Lee, you know, the coaches will tell you, be alert, check the post, be alert, check the post. But you know in your heart, it so rarely happens that you do get caught out.
Yeah, it happens 1 in 100 times, but that one time could result in a score. You know, and I always remember playing, and it's drilled into you by the coaches. You've got to be ready, because the time it does happen, if you're not, you know, you've got to be on it.
Well taken by Jenkins, lays it back well. Keddy, he's going to drop the shoulder and go. He went into Courtney. The ball is available, there's bodies everywhere. Quinlan took a while to bring it in. Andrews, well, that's going to be intercepted. Dumped off by Baggett, picked up by Ball. And now King's got the opportunity on that far side. You can see the tackle, the attempted tackle rip being made. Irvin Hess drags his way through. Keddy tried to pop him on the turf. Patterson gathers. Up it comes. Now there's a little ball back inside. There's going to be the little kick into the corner. Jenkins trying to protect ahead of McKnight, and he'll get that and pop it down. Really good effort there from Watsonians. They spotted the space, but it'll be the goal line dropout, and Jenkins doing what a good winger should do, make sure you've got the right angle.
Yeah, covering really well. Watsonians earned the turnover there, and Louis Ball you know, his head switched on, just ready to move the ball to space. I think just a contrast when looking at the skills and the passing, there was a few laboured passes from Boroughmuir which allowed Watsonians to get up and earn that turnover, and it just came from a couple of passes just being a little bit too low, and then one behind the shoulder, and it makes such a difference in the go forward.
Live it goes. Brown, little hitch kick and moved himself down. There's the ball on the inside. You could see Johnny Morris trying to come through there. Again, Andrews leads the tackling.
Available.
There's the high tackle. Referee's not spotted it.
You seen it, Tony?
Pringle tries the little offload. Brilliant take from Brown. He was behind him and he somehow hooked the arm. Hector Patterson on the inside.
Yeah. And you have advantage.
Now driving through. Bobby Bratton still going. King trying to halt him. And offside. They're going to come back for the penalty. Again, another big moment for Boroughmuir, just trying to keep the team out. But the referee did spot the high tackle. And there it was.
Yeah, Boroughmuir are defending well, but I get the sense that Watsonians are beginning to find their groove a wee bit. Those offloads are starting to stick. George Pringle with another great one out the back door because Jason Baggett attacks the line square. Pringle hits a good line, and then it just allows them to get in behind, which then flows on to generate quick ball. And Watsonians attempting to earn 3 points from their efforts there.
Jason Baggett. And I'm not going to curse him by saying he rarely misses 2 in a row. I wouldn't wish that on him. Half an hour gone at Meggetland. Watsonians looking to extend their lead. Absolutely no mistake.
Number 10, Jason Baggett. Lead the score now is Boroughmuir Bears 5, Watsonians Rugby 17.
Some people, Lee, might be wondering why they didn't go for the corner there, but sometimes when you've been in possession, you just want to get the reward and the scoreboard just for all the work you've been doing.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair call, given the last 10 minutes, the way that Boroughmuir have fought back into the game. It's a smart decision by Watsonians just to get more points on the board, you know, and they can continue to try and apply more pressure.
Played 4-1-2, drawn 1, lost 1, the record so far. And the sprint from the team from Myers side. Tristan Andrews takes it, he's away from McKnight. Well, he's running through the players, still going, Tristan McAndrews. McKnight has a second go, does bring him down. Now can they make something happen? Here's Callum Ram. Ram with a long swirling pass. Sets up for Swan. Quinlan trying to see if there's a gap, taken down by Davis. Tried to counter ruck, but it's presented well. Keddy gets a little bit of help from Fisher. Callum Ram's at first receiver. Ram gets it across onto McGinley. Takes a lot to shift Mark McGinley. Now Swan tries to get it on the inside, but Guthrie had read it well. Tries a little bit of twinkle toes himself. Swan trying to drag him down.
No, you lie on top of him.
Through the hands of Cecil. Now there's a little bit of width. No, it's coughed up by Brown.
Knock-on advantage.
It's a knock-on advantage. Scott McGinley has to come and play it. Plays it to Martin McGinley. That's a little bit reckless. Going to be picked up by Mason Cullen.
Budget is over.
Cullen goes through, advantage over, having got the kick away. Guthrie watches as Baggett takes it away. And he's banged almost into touch. I think it's gone off script at the moment. It's almost like next score the winner stuff here. Here's it to St Andrews. Going for the clever little kick. Jenkins chases it. And out it goes. That's an easy one for you to talk us through, Lee.
I think Tristan Andrews had enough and he thought, I'm going to do the smart thing here and put boot to ball, which he did fairly well, to be honest. It got a bit loose, didn't it? There was a couple of turnovers and boys diving on balls, and I think Boroughmuir just looked a wee bit unorganised when they generated a couple of phases and looked to be getting into some shape, and I think they came back to short side, and there was players dragged out of position, and Watsonians capitalised a few turnovers later, but Boroughmuir back with possession.
They've done well, Boroughmuir. Swan gets it into McGinley. McGinley off onto Tate. Tate gets it into Keddy. Keddy trying to drive his way forward. There might be an advantage coming now. It's Sweet.
Tackle.
No way through. Tackle is made. Again, the ball a little bit slow, but Jack Fisher will pick up and try and drive it on. Is there a gap? That's just gone forwards. And there was no previous advantage, so the knock-on is given. And Watsonians. Coaches don't like to see it so unstructured. I know fans particularly like to see when the ball starts to get a little bit loose, but there are times to be loose and there's times to be a little bit tighter.
Yeah, if you talk about percentages on offloads, are you giving 50-50s, or is that 60-40? Are you going to, we'll give the 60-40s? That one probably your odds are slightly lower on that, and if it sticks, you're potentially between the sticks, but it's a low percentage play, and especially, like you said, Paul, when you've not got penalty advantage, you're almost giving possession back. But you can understand why Boroughmuir are probably conscious, going towards half-time, they want to get back on the scoreboard. So you can see why. I think they're finding a bit more shape. Martin McGinley, as a first receiver in that forward pod, is getting the ball through his hands with great skill, which is allowing them to play a bit wider.
Patterson's having none of it there. Ball is taking a while to come out, but it has come out, and Baggett with the boot. Jenkins is going to watch it come over his shoulder, takes it well. On to Callum Ram. Ram is culling outside him. Ram with a little ball back on the inside. Jenkins has got space if he can get away from McKnight. Back on the inside. It's a brilliant piece of play. Can he find his way over Alex Tom? He can. That is brilliant rugby from the Boroughmuir Bears. Jenkins and Ram combining to set up, and Alex Tom goes over. It's a terrific score for Alex Tom, and it's his first try for the Boroughmuir Bears.
Oh, he's chuffed with that. Great interplay. It's back down that short side again off counter-attack, but the work done early by Joe Jenkins here, just to get back, to catch that ball on the full, makes such a difference, because Callum Ram is able to drag his defender across, come back down. It's good hands. And then it's the 1-2, Alex Tom's able to go in. But the early work by Joe Jenkins to get that ball in the full, it's quite easy just to let that ball bounce, but he just works that wee bit harder earlier to get it on the full, and we can get back down that short side, and it's a great finish for Alex Tom.
Gets congratulated by the skipper, Craig Carey. Began to celebrate when he was about 5 metres out. Terrific score. Now Tom Quinlan to cut it to 5 points. Curls it round. Beautifully done. Well, it is game on here at Meggetland between the Boroughmuir Bears and Watsonians Rugby. 2 tries apiece in this first half. Now, Lee, this is where Graham Shee will know his side have got to concentrate, get the restart, get it clean. And as Morris came up, knocked the ball on. Well, the referee judging that the contact was made after he got back to earth. It's a really good effort, though, from Johnny Morris, trying to come through, stamp himself on this game.
There you go.
Yeah, I talked about consistency at the start and how Graham Shield was he wants to try and generate some consistency with his young team, and I think you're right, going into this half they've shown in flashes that they can create scores and they can play some good rugby. That win against the Bulls a few weeks ago is testament to that. So I think, yeah, trying to go into this half-time, you know, they've dragged themselves back into this game and in a real position to keep it competitive. So that comes under that consistency banner as well.
Swan gets it away. Quinlan. He's adventurous. He's going to test Jack Brown. And Cole. Picked up by Brown, trying to find a way through, dragged down by Quinlan.
No. Still away.
Ball is available. Sam Cecil wasn't quite sure where to go.
Step. Use it.
McAndrew. Swan waits for it this time. Swan into Ram, looks up. Brings the ball back down this side. There's the bouncer out. Now, not only was that a good kick, Lee, but you could see Callum Ram got his head up. He checked to the right-hand side, saw that Angus Guthrie was at home, so then switched the focus to the left.
Yeah, he's doing really well as that position, in that position as off the counter-attack. So Rory Swan takes the kick, but he's the first receiver off that, and you can see him weighing up his options. Like you say, he's looking to the right. They've got Joy a couple of times down that short side. The pass maybe hasn't been on, so he's gone to the kicking option, and he's executed really well.
Taken by Beresford. Patterson with the kick. Jenkins, again, Ram is available. Cullen outside him. Goes to Cullen this time. He's got support as well through Tom. There's the dump back inside, and that was the sort of 40-60 pass that was against, but it's worked in the end. And the catch and the mark is taken. Given the state of the game and where we are with just, you know, under a minute to play, I didn't think it was the time just to offload that, just in case.
Yeah, and that's, I know, and that's where it comes down to that consistency and just that confidence in the pass. You know, but when it comes off, you can see how it works. Really impressed there, Jason Baggett, the quick thinking to mark that, the trajectory on that kick to just be putting it through, and Jason Baggett's quick enough thinking to mark that on a low trajectory ball was impressive. As we go into half time,
it's been a very, very entertaining half. The visitors have the advantage by 5 points, but at one point they led by 14 points to 0, having scored 2 tries. But Boroughmuir Bears have battled back. Half-time at Meggetland. Boroughmuir Bears 12, Watsonians Rugby 17.
A chance to thank their sponsors, Tom's World, Dean's Properties, and Andrew Deans and Becky McDonald here today. Hopefully enjoying the lunch and dinner upstairs. And I believe that these properties have signed these sponsors of the Boroughmuir Bears for another 2 years. So thank you, these properties. That's absolutely marvellous. Other sponsors: Pangea, Bell Rock, Great Pocket, and of course FOSROC. Johnson Smiley, our club accountants, are also here today, so welcome to you guys. Magnus Wang from East and Western Look Group. Magnus, fast running flanker in his day. Still good to see you down having a beer at the club, Magnus. Talking of beers, I don't know if Irma's still up there with the Cold Town beer tastings. But she has the Cold Town Lager and the Polestar Martini Ale, and probably no more cans of IPA at the moment because they were limited to start with. And also, if you're hungry, Dave in the corner of the terrace there is serving steak burgers, hot dogs, and potato wedges. I believe it's a 12-minute half time, so you've got plenty of time to get yourself fed and water if you need to.
What a terrific game it has been so far at Meggetland, the FOSROC Super Series Sprint here on the 12th of May. Boroughmuir Bears and Watsonians 5 points in it. And the scoring started exceptionally early. Seb Cecil with the first try of the game. Conor McAndrew set it up. Some good play by Bobby Bratton. And there was the key pass. And he finished that off late in a fair bit of style, shall we say.
Yeah, when you get a 9 able to run off the base and you've been generating quick ball, it just allows you to sit down defenders and create those holes. Louis Ball takes a great angle. As I said in commentary, he's more used to tackles and mauls, but he runs a great line and deserves his try. It all comes from that scrum half, just being able to take a few steps around the ruck, and the defenders have to respect that, which then creates that space.
Currently the top try scorers in the competition. And the extras were added by Jason Baggett. So the ideal start for Stevie Scott's men. It got even better after 12 minutes. Good take from the line from Seb Cecil. And really, there was just too much power. Cal Davis, you fancied him from the minute the ball was in his hands. They were set up well, he had the pace and the power, and he just tucked it over the line.
Yeah, it's efficient stuff. They generated a bit of pressure, they kicked to the corner, and most teams from that distance are going to back their line out maul, and they do that well with Cal Davis steering the ship, and he gets over.
Very, very little Boroughmuir could do about that. And the kick was added by Jason Baggett. It was looking a little bit bleak for Boroughmuir, but they swung back well. Jack Fisher with a line-out take, and Connie Tate at the back. And I know that in the opening 40 minutes, Lee, you've been very impressed with Connie Tate and how he's played.
Yeah, I think both sides of the ball, he does his job well here, and he earns his try, but I think defensively as well, you can just see the impact he has, and you sit up and notice the tackles that he's making, and he's back onto his feet and he's into the line. Do you know, he works really hard, but he's got that kind of bite in his play that he's definitely one for the future.
Well, the conversion was unsuccessful. This was great play by Joe Jenkins, inside onto Callum Ram. Ram back inside to Tom, and then Tom interchanging passes, and there was no way that Seb Cecil was going to stop him from there. But it was just great play between fullback and winger to set it up early.
Yeah, it's just picking off defenders and reading body shapes. That one to Alex Tom does well to give the ball back to Joe Jenkins, but then he earns it back on the inside, and it's just picking off defenders. Once you can get down that short side and you're one man up, it's just a case of executing, and they do it really well, and they've had a bit of joy down that short side. It's maybe something they'll talk about going into the second half if Watsonians are going to continue to look to that box kick.
Tom Quinlan popped over the extras. That's why at half-time the Boroughmuir Bears fans were much happier than they were after 12 minutes, 12 points, 17 to Watsonians, and what's been a very impressive game. Watsonians are 4 out of 4 at Meggetland in the FOSROC Rugby, so Boroughmuir might think they're due one, but all the wins that Watsonians have had, they've had to work very hard against this Bears side. And again, you see what the Bears are good at. You know, they get their head up, they tackle well, they keep good lines. Just once or twice it gets a little bit unstructured, and that sometimes comes with a slightly younger team.
Yeah, and I think it's just an experience thing, and that'll be something Graham Shields trying to build into this team. You know, when we talk about that consistency, but they've shown that. You know, we talked about it, Paul, the first 10 minutes and Watsonians got up. You're thinking this could be a long night for Boroughmuir, but they managed to get themselves back into the game. They've got some really good individuals that if they can, Gino, spark something that generates a bit of confidence in the team and go forward, they've managed to get across the line. And we've seen that try there off the counter-attack. Gino, really well executed. So if they can create those opportunities more often, Gino, it's going to make for a great second half.
FOSROC Super Series Sprint on a beautiful evening now in Edinburgh. It certainly cheered up from earlier. Very picturesque city. And a decent crowd in on a Friday night as well, enjoying the refreshments available at the Canal Side Bar and the rugby that's on offer. Yeah, that's showing true teamwork there. A pint in each hand. That's how to do it. Coaching staff starting to emerge from down below. Watsonians led out by Carl Lewis, our first to appear.
Boroughmuir Bears.
My lazy's not working. And out come the Boroughmuir Bears. Joe Jenkins, experienced player. Craig Keddy, a well-kent face around these parts. I worked for the referee, Rory Campbell, just kept his influence on the game, let it go as much as he can. He's been there, made the calls. Both sets of players still onside.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job and made a couple of good calls at ruck time, and when there's been infringements, he's dealt with it well.
Let's hope these 40 minutes are as entertaining as the first 40. Second half underway, 5 points the gap.
Okay, no news.
Try bonuses for Watsonians in 3 of 4 games. Didn't get one in the loss against Edinburgh A. Tristan Andrews well taken. Try bonuses have been a little bit rarer and harder to come by for the Bears. 2 tries apiece at the start of the second half. Trying to find the way to break through. Scott Robson wears 12. Quinlan. There's Alex Thom, try scorer. Cullen cuts inside. They're trying to drag him out. They've got the pace and the power to do so. And there was no way Mason Cullen was getting away from that. It's good work from George Pringle.
Yeah, he does the right thing. He steps back hard, realises the touchline's approaching, but you know, when you've got, I think, yeah, George Pringle gets in there, and Angus Guthrie, and it's 2 against 1. It's hard. But Boroughmuir generating a bit of quick ball there and getting ball to edge, which is good to see.
That's going to break through onto King. Oh, that's a brilliant snipe. Can he make it? That's the question. That was brilliant play from Rooney Swan. Now Keddy back into King, the man who got the turnover. Sweet tries to drive in. Now it's McGinley from close range. Bears looking to level things up. Watsonians will reset their defence. A start to the second half. That could have been. It's not over yet. Tristan Andrews reaching his way, and he's there. What a start to the second half for the Boroughmuir Bears. Tristan Andrews is the try scorer. It's just a second in 27 games, but they worked hard for that, the Bears.
Yeah, what a brilliant start. The turnover off the line out, and then the Rory Swan dummy at the base. It definitely sold me. I think it sold most of the people watching tonight. I was looking for up here down to pitch. I thought they need to come back short side. Watsonians looking a bit short on the short side, but then Rory Swan sold the dummy. They managed to then get themselves into the 22, and they were just generating quick ball. Scott McGinley at 9 there. They were just getting the ball away from ruck time, and it's good power by Tristan Andrews to get over, and he gets the ball down on the line.
Well, rugby is some sport. 14-0 down after a dozen minutes. They take the lead 2 minutes into the second half. Tom Quinlan with the conversion. Well, that's not the start that Stevie Scott would have been expecting of his side.
No, definitely not, and I think Boroughmuir have taken a leaf out of the Watsonians' book, scoring so early in the first half. They've come out and really put them to the sword early on.
Jack Brown, just 17 years old. Scotland Youth International player. Patterson flicks it out onto King. King dragging his way through. That's showing good strength from Scott King. And Speedy's dad just a little bit earlier. He's had to endure a lot, Scott King. 14 months with an ACL. Just working his way back. That's the penalty. Well, referee just explaining what the issue was here. A little bit high in the tackle, Brandon Sweet, as the player dropped down as well.
Yeah, I think Corey Tate maybe backed into Hector Patterson there. Just, I mean, it looked like it was unintentional, but you never know these guys. Do you know, blocking the entry to the 9 to the ruck? You can understand he's given the penalty Watsonians' way.
There's the throw. Now this is where the danger comes. The ball gets smuggled to the back. This is hard to stop. Davis is there. If he can get it down, that's what it's all about. There's just no stopping him there. Cal Davis with another double. Watsonians regain the lead. It's a game of lead changes at the start of the second half.
Yeah, for all money, Boroughmuir would have known that was coming as well, and it just shows you how hard it is to stop. And it's, I think you almost have to stop it at source. Once it's down and they can get, you know, they get that ball down with Louis Ball, and you've got the guys coming in. Cal Davis is driving that home 9 times out of 10, as he's shown in the first half, and they've managed to get over again. So from a Watsonians point of view, they'll understand that if they can get territory and get down into that corner, then they've got a weapon in their driving maul that they can really apply pressure with.
And they are rewarded for going for the corner rather than taking the penalty. Jason Baggett prepares the kick. Well, he's missed it on that occasion.
I've only got one job. It's actually Bears 19, Watsonians 22.
It really disappoints the Super Six, it has to be said. There's always good rugby, tight games. Not been as many tight games in the sprint as there was in the championship. That's probably just by more teams just getting away at the end. Here's Callum Ram, lifts it. Alex Tom, already a try scorer. Tries to get past Pringle and King. King did well. Swan looked one way, then the other. McKinley. King. That's a centre tackling a prop. There was just wasn't letting go of that one. There's a knock on against Watsonians. There's a nice edge about the game as well. Not in a negative way, but both sets of players, you can see Lee just giving it their all. They want that victory.
Yeah, some real competitive nature in the tackle. You can see at the breakdown, and there's a few turnovers going either way. It's a great platform to attack off on that occasion. Boroughmuir, the beneficiaries, and they're just able to put the ball a bit wider and into a bit of space.
Find 6. Okay, 9.
Nicely taken. Tom again tries to get the right angle from the running line. No way through. They'll need to come back again. Will they go wide? They will do so. Cullen tries to step back inside. Swan, Quinlan. First receiver that time is Jack Fisher.
Tackle!
Off the 10. Swan, Quinlan. Tried the dummy, that's going to bounce up. Corey Tate. Look at the power of Corey Tate there. Great counter-rucking going on. And that was Pringle. He's having a fine game. Guthrie. A little bit of room to run. Swallowed up by the Bears. Patterson pulls it back onto Baggett. Thought about pulling the trigger on that. Josh King takes him down. Patterson clips it round the corner. Jenkins waits for it. Spots that there's players out of position. So he's going to try it long into the 22. Inside from Guthrie onto Brown. Another spiralling kick. Swan. Now he tries the flatter kick, gets the bounce. That's an excellent kick from Rory Swan. It's all about territory at the moment. Lee Jones, who's alongside me, that's an excellent kick. Both teams trying to establish domination.
Yeah, probably the first time we've seen a more extended bit of kicking, and it comes off, I think, a turnover on either side. Corey Tate does really well on this near side. I think if you're looking down defending as a winger there, you'd probably rather be defending the winger than Corey Tate in that left channel. But yeah, in the end there, Rory Swan, he was on a tight angle up that touchline, but he managed to get away a good kick. And probably both teams just starting to think now about just trying to gain a bit of territory. The game's been a wee bit loose in this first 10 minutes of the second half. They're probably thinking, right, let's start probing with a few kicks and just see if we can, get into our stride and get into possession and phases.
Some running repairs going on for Josh King. Well, he's a solid unit. Started the last 5, now 6. 6 extra starts for Josh King. I'm sure he had more hair the last time I watched him. I think he's gone a little sort of slightly shaved look.
The Super Series has taken its toll.
An enjoyable night at Meggetland. 6 tries, 3 apiece, taken by Jack Fisher. Corey Tate at the back. Great work by Fisher just to try and lean back, to hold back Seb Cecil, who'd come through. Neil Irvin Hess is having one heck of a night.
Ball's available.
Almost got in there. Craig Keddy. It's not coming out. It's a difficult one for a referee. You're trying to give the team who's moving forward, the opportunity, but sometimes it's just caught up in there, ain't coming out.
Yeah, it's smart there. Because the referee had called maul, Watsonians understand that they can just dive on that ball, cover it, and if the ref can't see it, then he's going to give the turnover in their favour. And it was great work by Neil Irvin Hess there. I thought he'd won the turnover actually a bit more cleanly. You could see there he had the ball, but then Boroughmuir had actually, they did well. I thought they'd got it back, and you could see the ball in there, but I think it was Neil Irvin Hess just managed to lie over it enough to prevent its release, and he's managed to gain the turnover for his team.
Well, he swallowed quite a lot to say for himself there. Hector Patterson pops that in, gives the youngster a shove. The scrum was messy.
Ball straight in, reset.
And a reset. And again, you can just see Bruce Swan just trying to influence the referee. Not sure that was quite what it should be, etc., etc.
Here's the mark.
Yeah, these scrum halves are really playing up to the stereotype right now.
Stay straight. Here's the mark.
Probably not the right time to reveal that was the position that I used to frequent. Nippy wee scrum half. Nippy as in annoying rather than fast, it should be said.
It was the same for me a long time ago, Paul, before I ended up on the edge.
They got fed up with me eventually and put me to full back. You never stop being a scrum half. Irvin Hess does well. On to Scott King, spots the gap. Almost got through. I've been impressed by both Watsonian centres tonight. It's back to Jason Baggett. Callum Ram, another player who's caught the eye. Ram. It's enough for him to try and chase. And there's the knock on, and there's a second knock on. Well, it looked like it. King takes it down. I thought he knocked that on, but the referee didn't. He's closer than us. McGinley swings it out. That will go down as an ambitious pass. And again,
great carry by Scott King of the Watsonian scrum there, which allowed a clean exit from a Watsonian's point of view, but then on the counter-attack, Callum Ram puts up a good high ball, arguably just a wee bit too far, but it creates that wee bit of indecision. I think it was Jason Baggett had to slide in. That's created a knock-on, so it's gone in Boroughmuir's favour there. And yeah, it's turning into a really, really entertaining match.
It's well taken by Jimmy Beresford. And you see the other number 5, Jack Fisher, just getting himself back on side. The ball is with Carl Davis at the back. Splinters off now. Struggling to get him down. Penalty, it's not released.
Okay, careful, let him up. Let him up.
You could see he wasn't wanting to release. Corey Tate was getting on the end of it, trying to rip that ball away, and that's good reward for Corey Tate once more.
Yeah, these wee moments just now at this point of the game and the way the scoreline is can go a long way in terms of the momentum of the match, and I feel like Boroughmuir, are just getting the rub of the green on a couple of these, and they'll only grow in confidence from that, having brought the score back to what it is, to be earning these turnovers and penalties. It looks like they're maybe going to shoot for the posts here.
This is interesting because they've managed to get themselves back ahead. They've surrendered the lead again, but this is a chance to draw level. So they're going to think to themselves, why not? It's a beautiful shot, some of these beautiful big houses in the background. It is a lovely little rugby ground this here at Meggetland, as Tom Quinlan gets the chance to level the scores. Got the kick away, it's close, and it's good. Tied up at 22.
Bears 22, Watsonians 22.
He really struck that nicely, Lee.
Yeah, it's a brilliant kick. Looking from our position up here, I'm thinking that's a, it was not an easy kick, and pressure on as well to bring the game back to level scores. So yeah, well done, Tom Quinlan.
There has been one draw in the Super 6 Sprint so far this season. Watsonians and Heriots shared 66 so far. Watsonians and Boroughmuir have shared 44. Don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying the scoring is yet to end. Swan. Brown waits for it. Oh, steps away well from Jenkins. And a second challenge taken down by Jack Fisher. Hector Patterson inside, Johnny Morris. Patterson in there again, gets that away well. Ball in behind, Baggett, great pass. Pringle, Neil Van Hess, that looked high from Quinlan. Yeah, the tackle advantage is coming. Guthrie's picked up, though still going. Cullen has tried to take him down. Davis in the scrum half position inside. Harrison Courtney driving his way through. Penalty advantage is still with the visitors. Patterson again. Morris. Baggett on the inside. King. It's a great little offload onto Brown. Tries to get it away. And Riley won't get there, so they will come back for the penalty. Well, it just goes to show that, young Jack Brown got away with that first little sidestep on Joe Jenkins, and it just opened the whole game up.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that, Paul, across the far side. So he's fielded the kick, he's managed to beat the first defender. He's also done well, he's gained yardage up that far side, which generates a quick ball. And you can see from up here the space that was left on the width here, and Watsonians took a couple of phases to get there, but generated the quick ball, and they managed to get their way into the 22 because Boroughmuir so short on numbers, rightly so in defence, just had to sit off and they had to be really passive. But Watsonians, with Neil Irvin Hess on the edge, really drove into that space, which took them right up to, say, 7-8 metres out from the line. It gave them the opportunity actually on the far side to score. So yeah, that initial bit of play, as you say, from Jack Brown on the far side has allowed them an opportunity to potentially go in, potentially Jack Brown go in on that far side. So yeah, good work early on has paid dividends there.
Some running repairs being required. Brandon Sweet has left the field of play for Boroughmuir. He's been off the bench for the last 3. Got the start tonight, and he hobbles his way off. Neil Van Hess, you can see him there. There's the limp.
Making a second replacement. Number 2, Corey Tate, has been replaced by number 16, Jerry Blythe-Lafferty.
Well, here, Boroughmuir, one great young player for another, Corey Tate off, Jerry Blythe-Lafferty on.
Sorry, my apologies, Craig Kenny is coming off.
And there might be another change to come as well.
Watsonians 6.
Seems to be just a little confusion down pitch side about who's to come on, who's to go off. Craig Kenny has also been withdrawn.
Sorry guys, a bit of confusion, but there's your mark.
Looks like we've got Corey Tate still on the field
Yeah,
there.
I think he's gone. He'll go into the back row, which would be the way of doing it.
It just shows you these two players, in Corey Tate and Jerry Blythe-Lafferty, the way they play the game. They could, I think, either of them could quite easily go into the back row and do a good job. You know, powerful, skillful. Yeah, they'll do well in that position as well.
Yeah, the indication was he was coming off, but it is Craig Kenny, the skipper. Carl Davis looking for a hat-trick. Cry for offside. There's the counter ruck, and there is the penalty. Got to be very careful, just 5 metres out. The ball eventually comes out, but the penalty had been given for a while. Jason Baggett. It used to be if you wanted to try and get a hat-trick of tries in rugby, you're a winger. You know, they fed you there. Now you get as many hookers getting hat-tricks as wingers do.
Definitely, you look at Johnny Matthews in the URC and the European Cup, top try scorer for Glasgow this season. Not all of them off the back of a maul, to be fair, but a good percentage.
That's one!
There he is once more. Harrison with him, trying to get moving forward. You can see great camera work by the guys. And there's the shout for offside. Now that's been knocked over. Carl Davis is unhappy, but it is at the feet of the Bears. Swan gets it away. Well, the dark arts may have been practiced in getting that back, but if you don't get pinged for it.
He's broken off at that point today.
Yeah, that's a real psychological win for Boroughmuir there. They've, you know, when Watsonians have got into that position previously, the maul's been unstoppable, and I think they've probably taken a risk in giving away the penalty, but then they've managed to smuggle that back, although still under pressure.
Neil Irvin Hess again drops around the corner onto Lewis. Ball with ball in hand. Patterson dragged down there. Ian Carmichael, but the pressure might tell. And there's Bobby Bratton. Patterson again shuffles it out wide. Ball is 4, just falling short. Comes out again. Baggett with a little feed. They're close. Might have to come back again, and the referee's given a penalty for not releasing. Well, not sure if it was young Ben Riley there, 23. That's not the place to be giving up ball.
Yeah, and I think it's Corey Tate that comes up with the steal as well. It's interesting to see Watsonians going. They've obviously got the danger off the line out, but they've peeled off the back on that occasion.
It was Jack Brown. Ben Riley was on his shoulder as George Pringle goes through. There's the support. Patterson. Out it goes. Beresford. There's the little clip kick through. That might bounce for Swan. It's a difficult one. He's taken it. Ben Riley is with him. He's had to go into touch. Neil Irvin Hess is trying to chase him to get the ball. Oh, what a contest. 90 minutes to play. I think the referee's going to just have a little word here just to try and calm things down a little bit.
It's such a smart kick from Jack Brown.
Yeah.
You know, Watsonians have counter-attacked, they've hit the middle of the field and then they've come back short side. Often you've got a winger out of position, he's either up in the line or he's been covering, so there was space in behind. He's put that ball through, but it's not gone out. He's kept it in, which means Rory Swan's had to get to it, and then he's been forced into touch. Almost nothing else he can do.
Well, we've seen this movie before, and Carl Davis, he's got 1, he's got 2, he now has 3, and Watsonians regain the lead.
Yeah, there has been sustained pressure, to be fair, and a few line-outs in this red zone 22, and Watsonians eventually. You know, Boroughmuir, they come up with a couple of penalties, but it's hard to exit from this far down the field, and Watsonians have gone back to their strength in the maul. Seem to be operating well off that right-hand side of the pitch, and Cal Davis again, he's on a hat-trick.
He is. Well, he's a regular try scorer coming into today, 11 and 42. It's now 14 and 43. It's a try bonus for Watsonians. And between the championship and the knockout games, and also the FOSROC Super Series Sprint, Watsonians now have got 4 tries or more in 15 of 17 games this season. They are relentless. Still, no matter what, Boroughmuir are within a score. With 17 minutes to play. Jason Baggett, let's fly.
And Jason
Gets the extra 2 points.
Now Bears 22, Watsonians 29, and Bears are making a replacement. Number 10, Tom Quinlan, is coming off to be replaced by number 22, George Paul.
Well, there it was. It was very controlled. It was very measured. It was very Watsonians. So a change at standoff for the home side. George Paul is now on.
Use it.
21 years old on his debut. Jenkins watches. Tristan Andrews is absolutely levelled. I think it was Ball. The legs continuing to pump and play it back. Tom tries the long pass. Cullen can't take it in stride. Wasn't expecting it to come up and over the top. It was a good attempt. Mason Cullen couldn't hold on. Changes being made.
Watsons are making replacement. Number 5, James Beresford is coming off, and number 19, Kieran Watts is replacing.
So Kieran Watt comes on. The evening for Jamie Beresford is done. I like players who wear red caps. Victor Patterson's done well. Murdo McAndrew obviously failed the HIA, and he's come on and he's settled. He's done really well, been very calm. Linked up well with Jason Baggett's penalty as Boroughmuir take it down.
Yeah, and I think it's important. You often see a scrum half come off the bench, and it's often to inject that energy and, you know, real pace into the game. But the way that this game's balanced, as you mentioned, Paul, you need Hector Patterson. He needs to control the game. He needs to be smart about what he's doing. You know, direct his team into the right areas, and I think so far he's done that really well.
Well, the two.
Closing station by the time ball's chucked in. Tackle only. Aye, lead up. Don't touch the leg, ball. Chuck the ball back. Release. Advantage knock on in the tackle. Leave him. Scrum only. Whoa. Knocked on in the tackle, we go back to the scrum. Okay? Yeah, see that. Time. Time's off. I'll just go back there for a drop down. He's getting, I think it's just cramps. He's not coming back up. Just cramp. Is he going off? Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that had anything to do with the hit from Louis Ball in that midfield of the counter-attack. What a collision that was, and Tristan Andrews he's carried well tonight, and Louis Ball lined him up there. Yeah, Tristan Andrews has played well tonight, and he got a score for his efforts in the first half. Hope he's all right.
Let's go. That's the mark. Keep your elbows stay up and stay strong. Keep your elbow up strong as well. Nice on by.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Steady. Stay up straight. 9. Turn over. Step. Ball is there. Hold red.
Deliberate. And there's the yellow card. It's a try-saving issue, but the arm was up and he was always going off Callum Ram.
Yeah, it's the right call. It's kind of last-ditch attempt from Callum Ram, but the power that's went into the ball there's no chance he's going to catch it. He saved his team a try, but whether they can manage to hold him out is yet to be seen.
Taken by King. King now gathered. Patterson gets it on the inside. Now driving forward. Callum Ram is off. They're down to 14. They're going to be stretched. Jason Baggett trying for the line. Baggett watches on as it's Patterson. Did he ground it? That's the question. Well, the referee's looking across to his touch judge to see if he's got a line. No try.
Goal line dropout.
Well, there is no TMO at this level. Hector Patterson thought he'd scored.
Let's go.
But unless you're sure, you can't give it.
Stay behind.
I'm not sure how confident Hector Patterson looked that he'd actually scored this. 2 dummies, he comes back to the short side. I mean, in full time, I'd say he probably got that down.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. It's so difficult for the referees, but they're stretching again. Guthrie stepping inside. Watsonians looking to kill this game off.
You step back. You step back.
That comes through Baggett. Pringle. Davis.
There now. Yeah, good. Well done.
Patterson again. Brown. Riley. That's bounced down. Looks like a knock-on. It has been given as a knock-on. Well, 9 minutes to play. We'd hope for a really good contest, Lee, and that's what we've got.
Yeah, good defence on the edge here, Joe Jenkins. Just almost gets himself into the passing lane and forces the error. But Watsonians, you know, from that they put Ben Riley through on that set play in the lead up to their score, and I think from then on they've just looked like they've got their tails up a wee bit in attack. But Boroughmuir defending well and managing to keep them out. We're just seeing that attempt from Hector Patterson again, and it would have been an interesting one going to the TMO and to see it in slow motion.
Well, young man perhaps just needs to try and sell it a little bit more. Well, changes being made. Look at Alessandre is on. Brody Young and Adam Scott.
Number 9, Rory Swan. Number 13, Alex Tom. And number 3, Mark McGinley coming off, being replaced by number 21, Brody Young. Number 23, Adam Scott.
So you can see there, look at Alessandre, who didn't fancy the number 18 jersey. So he's the man with no number. Well, at least we'll be able to spot him in the white scrum cap.
Right, Mark's here. Turn back on. Keep height nice and low.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Under severe pressure at the moment, Boroughmuir, can they get out of there? On 22. It was Kieran Westlake on the carry. One of the changes made.
No.
It's all very tight, and the penalty is given.
Stay careful. Just slip round the net.
Just slipped round the corner, said the referee. I think that's the international language if it wasn't a penalty, ref.
That relieves a bit of pressure for a Boroughmuir point of view. They'll be able to get themselves upfield. And we've not seen them in this half of the field a lot in this second half, you know, bar early on when they got that score. So, you know, with the game balanced as it is, Boroughmuir into the Watsonians half will be looking to try and gain a bit of momentum going into the last, what have we got now, 8 minutes left.
Well, Watsonians were perfect in last season's sprint competition. Thrilling last day win against Stirling Wolves. 7 out of 7 on that occasion. This season they've dropped 1 game to go to Edinburgh. Well, again it's gone in, will not come out.
Through the middle.
Just trying to frustrate their opponents at the moment, Watsonians, and Neil Van Hess and co have done well.
Yeah, I think they've done well to turn that maul just back towards the touchline, which, you know, should Boroughmuir earn that ball, they've got further to play from the touchline. It allows the defence to get up quicker, so it's a great tactic, but they've managed to come out on top there by mauls being called, and they've managed to, again, just cover up that ball when they go to ground and earn themselves a scrum, which is a good attacking scrum here, a right-hand side. Be interesting to see how Watsonians play this. Ahead on the scoreboard, they go to the kicking game. Mason Cullen as the open side winger here for Boroughmuir is just having to sit off a fair distance to cover that kicking game potential 50-22, but also you'll see him have to cover this space if he has to come up and Watsonians decide to run it.
Stay behind the ball. No. No.
So Jack Fisher has been replaced. Now there's the space. Can they exploit it? It's the opportunity to get the pass away. Just held on a little bit too long. Guthrie was right in behind. There's the offload onto Patterson, taken down by Adam Scott. There's Kieran Watt up against Westlake. The two Kierans.
Hold. Wait.
Patterson onto Baggett. Baggett drops it onto Pringle. Pringle out onto King. King quickly through the hands onto Brown. They're going to go for a little kick through for Neil Irvin Hess. Tries to get there.
No advantage.
There is no advantage, and the referee is going to bring it back. Disappointment there for George Paul.
23. Blue ball, offside.
Offside against Kieran Westlake.
That's fine. Offside.
It's a clever kick again by Jack Brown. Obviously we're coming back for the advantage, but otherwise really smart play again. Watsonians made such good headway from that right-hand side scrum. As we mentioned, Boroughmuir having to cover that 50-22 with Mason Cullen having to set off, and then when they do decide to run it, he has to be relatively passive in defence, so Watsonians can really just get on the front foot. Boroughmuir make their tackles, but they're then 30 yards, 40 yards behind that gain line from where the scrum began. So, and Watsonians probably the right call here to try and take the points from their point of view.
Just take it beyond 7 points. That would be their thinking. And Jason Baggett is hoping to seal this with just 5 minutes to play. It's been a busy night from the boot for Jason Baggett. It is strong, it is true, and that extends the lead, and that could be the kick that takes Watsonians just too far away from the Boroughmuir Bears.
Yeah, it looks likely, doesn't it, going into the last 4 minutes of this match, unless Boroughmuir can potentially grab hold of possession and get this kick-off back. Watsonians have come good at the right time for them.
That's a terrific take on the far side. The ball has been coughed up. Oh, both benches were calling for a decision from the referee there. Rory Campbell's been up with play, called the game well. Hector Patterson. And it's going to be a knock-on as Scott King is there. Gets the offload onto George Pringle. Pringle will move it out. Angus Guthrie, man on his shoulders, the fullback Brown. Well taken down by George Paul. Patterson. Johnny Morris. Patterson in there again. It's been turned over. There's it away through for Brodie Young. There's the pass. Jerry Blythe Lafferty. Most of the crowd felt that one. Now trying to break on that far side, it's the room. Brodie Young, 21 on the deck. Jerry Blythe Lafferty with a headband. It's Joe Jenkins in at scrum half, through the hands of Westlake. Watsonians have a man down. There's Jerry Blythe Lafferty, Scotland under-20 international, gathers. I thought Kieran Watt got in the way there. Westlake plays it wide through the hands of Struan Whittaker. The last of the replacements to come on for the Bears. If the Bears are going down, they're going down in attack mode. Alessandri tries to drive over.
Stay.
Time is against Boroughmuir. You wouldn't mind even a losing bonus point here. You can hear Stevie Scott, the Watsonians coach, just shouting to his players, discipline, discipline, as Seb Cecil makes the tackle. They're going to try and see if they can get the kick. Attempted 50-22, but it's just going to sit up. Tell you what, that was well taken under pressure. Jason Baggett showing his experience. Pops it long. Adam Scott.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, out of play it comes.
Time off. Got to play it down. Time's off,
I think the last 3-4 minutes there have just epitomised the game. You know, Boroughmuir working hard to get that ball back, and then we've had turnover go one way, turnover go the other way, and Boroughmuir really just throwing everything at Watsonians to try and, you know, gain points going into the last couple of minutes of the match. But then Watsonians have played that pretty smartly. They've defended resolutely. Boroughmuir have had to in the end up to kick to try and get better ball back, but Jason Baggett's drilled it really long, and Boroughmuir have had to go out on the halfway line. But it's been a great game.
Certainly has. Our colleagues at BBC Alaba pick the man of the match, and it has gone to Cal Davis for his hat-trick of tries. Well, he is the player of the match. I think we could talk about a few other players when it comes to that. Neil Van Hesse, I think, has been outstanding. I think Scott King and George Pringle have been really, really good. Tristan Andrews for the Bears. There's a whole host of people that could have won this tonight.
Yeah, some great individual performances. Louis Ball as well and Seb Cecil have been really instrumental in that Watsonians pack. And then you look at Corey Tate on the Boroughmuir side. Cal Davis's opposition, and both hookers have been really impressive in the loose as well as in the tight play. Joe Jenkins on the wing as well, especially in that first half, just had some really classy touches of play, not often noticed, but you know, they went a long way.
With the game coming to a close pretty soon, just I think
Just going off that side.
clear the stand as quickly as possible. It's pretty late, and the spectators not please not going
You're on the line.
The guys from the leisure want to get finished and go home as soon as possible. Be much appreciated, thank you.
It's a big shift by those boys.
Okay, 9. Tackle! Release! Off him now. I'll take countdown, please, Dave. Advantage over! Sorry, I called that too early. They'd already lost control. We go back. They'd already lost control. I hadn't seen them do that. Go back. Okay. Yeah. Go. Come on! Must be last play, Dave. I've got it. Last play. Last play, guys. There's your mark. Thank you. Last play.
The try bonus really important in that as well. Paul just applies that wee bit more pressure to the teams around as they'll be looking to get into that top 2 come the playoff weekend.
Set. Hold. Backwards. Play on. Through the middle. Lost now 2.
That's an outstanding individual try by Mason Cullen to finish off the game as well, and you know, testament to a great game of rugby. The ability to finish that, he was looking for support on the inside, but he's managed to finish that on his own, just coming off his right foot. You know, the bouncing ball, and Joe Jenkins picks it up, he gets it out to Mason Cullen. It's just good footwork and real pace as well.
Boroughmuir Bears 29.
Really enjoyed this. You could see the smile.
Watsonians Rugby 32.
He realised he'd got his way through.
Guys, the clubhouse is open for a wee while yet. You can go there and get a beer. If you're lucky, there might be a base and free. Cool Town beer going around. The bear is still around.
There's something special going to leave him round. You could see Josh keep realising he needed to give a little bit of support. But he drove his way through.
Yeah, great game. Great advert for Super Series Rugby as well. You know, it was competitive, it ebbed and flowed, and both teams coming in and out of the game, and yeah, a really strong finish. And a good advert with that solo try at the end to, yeah, to cap off a really competitive match.
Super Series Sprint Series, just over 8 tries a game. 8 tries here tonight with coaches. Take the win.
Yeah, I guess when you look at it over the whole, Watsonians have got what they came for, but I think they'll, you know, looking to review that game and where they set their standards, there'll be a lot to work on for them going into, you know, what are potentially the top 2 playoffs. From a Boroughmuir point of view, we heard Graham Shield talk about the consistency. He'll take so much confidence from that game. You know, against top opposition, do you know, at moments they can show that they can score points, can just generate a bit more consistency than, do you know, so I think that's a good night for Boroughmuir as well.
It's been tremendous. Let's have a look at the tries. Boroughmuir Bears winning by 3 points here. Beg your pardon, Watsonians winning by 3 points on a night at Meggetland where we saw some terrific rugby. Well, this was the opportunity, and you could see Murray Swan going through. It was a terrific break, and it set up the chance. And this was the opportunity for Boroughmuir right at the start of the second half to take the lead. And it was really fitting that Tristan Andrews was the player to score.
Yeah, he had a strong match. Kick-off receipt, he was really strong, and this came in the lead-up from the dummy from Rory Swan, which I think, as I said, sold everyone. But they started the second half really strong. They generated quick ball moving into this, and Tristan Andrews does really well. Enough power just to carry 2 players across and get close enough to dot it down.
Quinlan with a conversion, and that gave the lead back to Boroughmuir. That was a little clip kick. Remember, they trailed by 14 points to 0. But one of the problems tonight was trying to stop that rolling maul and the hat-trick of tries that was to come tonight from Carl Davis.
Yeah, and when you look back on this game, Watsonians generated so much. You think if their maul wasn't operating as well, you know, that just kept them in the game in terms of the scoreboard. So an area for Boroughmuir to look at in terms of maul defence, but they were so efficient, Watsonians, when they got that to ground and got their players on the ball. Carl Davis, the beneficiary, obviously, with a hat-trick and the man of the match, but it was a real weapon for Watsonians tonight.
And in the praise of his teammates, and he really is such an influential player. And the man from the boot was Jason Baggett. Well, we'd seen this movie before. And Carl Davis again, good with the throw. 1 or 2 lineouts were lost by both teams tonight, but they are clinical with the throw and clinical. He gets in so quickly, they shuffle the ball back. There's another good take by Seb Cecil.
Yeah, and the pack can take massive confidence from that. Going into these last few games as well, the Watsonians pack has always been strong, but to know that if you're in a position and you can kick to the touchline and you can rely on your maul to at least get you close or earn points, and that's a massive weapon that they can take, you know, into the end of the Super Series Sprint and also into the championship season as well.
Carl Davis wants to get player of the match as well. Certainly made the difference. Jason Baggett, this was to extend the lead to 10 points, which to prove in the end a really important penalty kick, given the fact that Boroughmuir did come back at the end.
Yeah, and a smart decision then by Watsonians to take the points, given how tight the game was. And both teams made some smart decisions in that area, and it kept the game tight. This is the last one that we've just seen towards the end of the game, but Mason Cullen with an outstanding solo effort. His ability to beat the man, to be checked for pace, but also just pick it up again and continue to get between the sticks is really impressive.
It was a lovely sign-off from Boroughmuir. Well, from a Watsonians perspective, you could argue a couple of tackles were missed, but Jenkins looked up, fed Mason Cullen, and Mason Cullen, that's now 3 tries and 5 appearances. He's certainly got the sprint and the smile. And pop the ball down. 8 tries in the match. Really entertaining contest between these two sides. So tonight you've watched Boroughmuir Bears and Watsonians Rugby. Tomorrow Stirling Wolves take on the Southern Knights at 3 o'clock in Stirling, and then on BBC Sports Scotland and on the SRU channels. The Ayrshire Bulls take on Heriot's Rugby. That will be a cracking contest. So the table as it stands, Watsonians with the advantage have played 5, put pressure on Ayrshire and Heriot's now on 18 points. Watsonians, the Bulls and Heriot's, and next week Watsonians take on Ayrshire Bulls. That will be another cracking contest. Boroughmuir Bears picking up a couple of points tonight. So next Friday night we will be down at Millbrae for that contest. The Ayrshire Bulls taking on Watsonians Rugby, and what should be a cracker for a place in the final of the FOSROC Super Series Sprint. A cracking night of rugby between Boroughmuir Bears and Watsonians. Well, these two near neighbours, no love lost between them. They shared 8 tries, but it is Watsonians who leave with the win. Boroughmuir Bears 29, Watsonians 32 from us all here at Meggetland. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.